Oh, it's time. Time to get radical.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Radical Comment of the Week for August 23rd through August 29th, 2021. These are the very best comments from that time period. Starting out with the honorable mentions, we have Art Bell, Juliet India Mobile, and P.O. Box Christmas. The bronze medal comes to us from Brian. Wow, a fundable campaign for crowdfunding more money to keep this going? This in addition to the profit-sharing scam they did a few months back that Trash JT sunk $10K into. It's completely obvious they're in desperation mode. As I've been saying, they were using the pandemic to provide cover and plausible deniability as to why the device wasn't ready last year. But in 2021 going into 2022, this excuse doesn't hold up because they could easily get a batch of 10K of processors if they needed them. Hell, Sony and Microsoft are getting millions and Amico needs a tiny fraction of that. They spent all the pre-order money on a massive new office and senior team salaries. Now they are doing a fundable to pay for more salaries and keep the lights on. Very little is going into finishing the device. Plus, the reason why they're now using crowdfunding sites to raise money is because they won't have to pay people back when the project fails. If they were to go after private capital for investments, they would be exposed to liability to the investors in the event the project never gets off the ground. They'd also have to open up their accounting/books, which I'm sure they don't want to do because investors will see that they are all taking massive salaries and barely spending money on research and development. They can make a fundable campaign sound great because no one can see the numbers behind the scenes, but they can't do that with real investors. This is getting very, very shady. It's all about the timing, really, I look at. The timing of the fundable, like around the same time that the console is supposed to release. You know, we're getting close to what would have been the release date in October. And then there's a fundable, you know, convenient, isn't it convenient? It's almost as if all the money is, like you said, going into the salaries of these people. And, you know, when it comes to R&D or actually, you know, finishing the games, I find it shocking that they're doing a fundable right now, years after the Amico was announced, but now they're doing a fundable for it. There's too many things that you really kind of look at, and I think that's a big reason as to why all these show YouTubers are slowly either not talking about the Amico or taking a step back. But, you know, when this thing is actually revealed to be what essentially is basically, if not a full-blown scam, you know, very misleading to the public, I wonder, you know, those people that were shills for the Amico, will they be just as loud? I want them to keep that same exact energy. Keep that same energy when this thing is actually revealed to be what it essentially is, which is just a giant failure, if not an actual full-blown scam, when everything is said and done. The silver medal comes to us from Juliet India Mobile. I'll put it this way. In business, when someone questions your service, there is no better time to self-promote. Don't lie, but convince your potential customer of the benefits you provide. You don't have to go dollar for dollar what your money buys, but clear and understandable highlights are keen for potential customers. This helps them understand why they should hand over their hard-earned cash to you. If they don't buy in, then it was clear they had no intention of buying in, and you move on to the next prospect. If your business reacts to potential revenue with hostility, then it's a fraud, or quite possibly has a lot of crippling information you fear of exposure. However, this isn't a business. This is YouTubers who are a sack of crap e-beggars. If they want your money, they claim they need it for continued content and are quite offended when you call into question that. They attack the sensible person who is possibly interested in supporting you but doesn't want to waste their money. They use vague explanations such as production value, editing, and equipment. You ban those of differing opinions, which could spark that question with your other pay pigs and keep that veil firmly in place. Let's talk about other side of this. Ponzi schemes want your money and are quick to tell you that you need to buy in. If you don't or be sensible about it, they quickly go on to the offensive. They use tactics like calling into question your business savviness, earnings capacity, or even challenge your character. They use vague blanket statements as on how the money is spent, earned, and paid out. They are quick to discredit and or silence anyone who is challenging them and use reinforcement tactics on their victims to continue their loyalty with the veil firmly in place. I'm pretty sure this will give you an insight into what Lady Decade and Top Hat Gaming scam are doing with that money. Well, I think more or less this is actually more applicable to the Amico, really. Especially towards the end of this comment, talking about, Ponzi scheme and people, investing and buying in and everything like that, But yeah, there's definitely been a lot of people trying to silence or discredit, in both cases, people that just ask questions. People that, what was the comment from Anthony Matterford? That Anthony Matterford said that, they were not cursing at all in that comment section. They were just, asking questions. And when the reply to asking questions is being offended and hostility, then that kind of leads to an example of what might really be going on, which is, and it couldn't be anything particularly shady in the case of, Top Hat Lady Decade. It couldn't be. But people should be allowed to be able to ask questions about where things like Patreon money is going. Because if it's set up like a business, then businesses should be transparent. The thing is, you can't set up a YouTube channel as, aw shucks, we're just like, humble YouTubers, or, I'm not saying particularly that's the case there. That's more like a John Hancock. But you can't set up like a YouTube channel as a front, we're just friendly, down-home, wholesome people, and then you have this Patreon connected to it, which is essentially, it's a business. You're asking people for money. That's an ask for money. So, I hear this argument that YouTube and their channels are businesses now. Well, if it's a business, Juliet and Mobile, then let's have full 100% transparency. And as of this, I was about to say typing because I'm used to typing comments. As of this talking, I haven't checked. Is there full transparency on their patrons? Does it actually show how much money they're making, for instance, on the Patreon? That's a very simple thing that these channels could do, but I doubt that's the case. Of course, I could be wrong. Thank you, Juliet and India Mobile. This is kind of a rush today. My apologies. The gold medal, the shiny gold medal, comes to us from Mr. Art Bell. Few words of comfort. For tough-talking YouTube creators who were also investors, they have to mourn their dying dollars put into battle to bring to life the COVID consolio of doom. No! Over 600 years of experience, many developers of all sizes are interested. Tommy's famous brag. Impossible to fail, seemingly. The game market he thought he understood, the Wii era, was not the current or future one. The public soured on the Wii in the 2002s. They loved a few games, then moved on. Nintendo gave up on the Wii with the Wii U was a loser. Tommy and his CFO and investors missed that crucial point. It's like the Playboy centerfold. To date them is great. Cool. Glad you did. But tell me the year you dated her. Wonder Woman Linda Carter now is not Linda Carter then. Even in her heyday, hairy arms might turn some people off. And a television emulator box on Android, done like the Atari VGS at $300, maybe would thrash around as the VGS is doing. From over 51 games in John Riggs' year-old video, now down to one incomplete game? Moon Patrol on the app for one level lives on. Until the app goes away? Tommy's CFO Nick mournfully spoke of low cash, of not saying no enough to the creative boss. We can hear it in that interview, the grim focus on another uncertain investor appeal. The big access to loan money from banks was clearly not there in 2021. Why should it be, with no complete games to show? I think we will find out the staff were mostly sent home to conserve whatever cash they had left. The rare parts needed were not ordered. That maybe it was just fun to enjoy investor money and the warehouse, make a good living for a few years. Execs win no matter what. Historians might ask, why not scrap the console plan, become a retro remaster firm, serve games up, take on a guy like Gamester81 who has connections and got Sydney Hunter out, even a team up with VGS. that would have assured that one of these boutique boomer dad consoles got some attention paid to it, some quality games released. Tommy thought he was a visionary, that he knew better. He bashed the VGS, bashed crowdfunding, then double-dipped himself. Oof! Smash and apparently Relic Gamer? Question mark. I don't understand that last part. My apologies there, because you linked them, I suppose, in some way, shape, or form. You talk about Playboy centerfolds. Great to date. Great to date. But, you look at time. I don't know what I'll really base this on. I don't have any plans for this reply. This is actually very rushed. But, let's talk about the Wii. The Wii was a success. It was a financial success. It hit at a time, and a lot of people were interested in the gimmick of the Wii. But time goes on, and it seems like they're trying to recapture that same magic of the Wii. But the reason the Intellivision is not going to be a success on the level of the Wii, there's multiple reasons. Because, Nintendo is a established brand. The Intellivision is a brand, but it's from many decades ago. So you're trying to bring a brand back. But how much brand loyalty does Intellivision Amico have? Probably not a lot. And speaking of the Wii and the Wii U was a failure. They tried to, do something else with it. And some people say the Wii U was a failure because of the name, but I don't know. I just think that people looked at it and they saw it as an underpowered option. And people are becoming smarter. It's not the old days to where you could actually release a console and expect it to sell like hotcakes just because it's a gaming console. It's the age of the internet. People know a lot more about these systems. And the Amico is very underpowered. But that's not the only problem. It's like you're trying to recreate the Wii, but it was Nintendo. And it was underpowered, but it was Nintendo. You had Mario, you had Zelda. What does the Amico have? You got Cornhole, you got Shark. It just seems like they, from every aspect whatsoever, you're correct when you say it's the console of doom. There's nothing but doom that awaits the Amico, and that's even if it releases. It is the console of doom. There are no bright days. There are no bright Amico days in the future. And that, again, is even if it actually releases.